guys? Welcome back to the agenda. It's me, Mr. B. Bath time's in the house as always, and obviously we've got a Monday Yabba. What else do we call her?
Forbes.
Forbes. Also in the house, guys. Obviously, there's not too much going on today, but oh look, let me just say a couple of hellos quick. Vincent, hello man. I hope you're doing well. Amins, yo, what's up? I think you're saying like the video, everyone. Make sure you smash the like button. Thank you very much, sir. Deeply appreciated. Never seen your name before, but welcome to the madness. Matthew, I hope you're doing well, man. I hope you're off the kebabs. Pre-season's due now, so I hope you're keeping slim. But good evening, everyone. I found it interesting that Yoro chose United. I hope that he's given time to develop, as he's only had one season in pro football under his belt. Yeah, well, look, but it's good to see you're back. Obviously, that it did affect you, the fact that we stole your player from you. You hadn't been on for a couple of days. We were hoping that you were right. We were going to send a search party out for you, but now you're back. I know you well. Chat Sport, welcome, my friend. I hope you're doing well. It's been made official today, so that deal is now done. We will now be looking forward, but he's huge. He's a, like, I know 6'3" is big, but he actually looks, maybe because he's so slim, but he looks huge. So yeah, I'm feeling positive about this signing. He looks happy. I mean, he's gonna be. We've paid him a wedge of money. But yeah, he looks happy to be here, which is nice. So what are you lot guys' thoughts on this whole Yoro scenario and his shirt number as well, which he's been
What's his shirt number?
Number 15.
Does that have any significance?
Vidic?
Yeah, but I mean, to him, like,
I don't think so. I think they're saving a higher number shirt for somebody else incoming, I think.
Oh, right. So you reckon the number, is it 4 that Varane wore? No, 5, isn't it? Like, you think that, no, 5's Maguire, 4 was Varane.
Yeah.
You think that that's going Delict, possibly?
Yeah. Yeah.
Very interesting that, isn't it? About the shirt numbers. I was thinking, while you were saying that, I was thinking, what's Harry Maguire's number, which suggests to me that he's going to be staying because he's number 5, obviously. So Varane was number 4. Obviously, he's out the door. Yeah, the natural thing would be if you're a first teamer for 50+ million or whatever it was for Euro, then you'd probably get a 1 to 11 number. But he's taking the 15. I wonder, I do sort of think to myself, what deal was at stake? With the negotiations, would we have said to him, "You're a first teamer"? Is there any sort of guarantee that we would give to him, or would we say, "You're here to develop, son. You're going to get more game time than you would have at Real Madrid, and you're going to be in the first team squad for sure"? I'm not sure, but we soon find out, won't we? Once the season kicks off.
No, look, you can work out what has been said to him. Like, so we've got Jason Wilcox come in. And City, to be fair to them, have had a pretty good track record at developing players. Not all of them are broken into the first team, but certainly at youth level, like England under-21s, under-19s, etc. Like Cole Palmer, I think, has been England international since the under-16s or something like that. And a lot of that is down to the data approach that Wilcox has done under the guidance of Barada. So what I suspect has happened is that we've given a presentation or something like that. Do you remember when we were competing for Maguire with Manchester City? We gave a big presentation about where we wanted the club to be and stuff like that. And I think that they've done 2 things. I think number 1 is they've sold the project, like where United aim to be, like what our goals are, like, and where we aim to be is that now we have on the golden boy list, which, I mean, to be honest, I think is frankly ridiculous.
Yeah.
But on the golden boy list, we now have Garnacho, Kobe, and Yoro. So that's 3 out of the set. That's 3 out of the 10. So we've got almost 30% of the most promising talent in the world, which is pretty cool. But also, I think that what they would have told him is is that the game time that you play is what develops you. In a position to give him more game time than like Real Madrid, for example.
Right.
We'll give him 25 to 30 games this season, and I think what they should have done is they should have talked about his weaknesses and said how they're going to develop them.
Okay, all right. But don't you think it's a bit patronising? You're saying you're spending big money on you, but by the way, these are your weaknesses, and we're going to work on it. How do you think a young player would take that? Especially like when we're in the era where young players are always boosted up to say how wonderful they are. I feel when I'm just judging that by sort of Sancho thing, you know.
They might not have said it like
that. Reputation,
or
their feelings, or hurt their feelings. They were told, yeah, we're about to sign you. Yeah, sign in the contract. By the way, you're terrible at heading and you're terrible interceptions. We're going to improve that for you. You'd be, hold on a minute, you know. Who said that? You're supposed to be buying me. You're supposed to be selling me the dream, not telling me how terrible I am.
Yeah, but that's a fantasy that you've just invented in your head. That is not what I'm suggesting at all. That as they're signing the contract, my mate Dan is whispering in his ear, "You need to get better at duels."
I'm only judging it on like Sunday League terms, and when some Sunday League rival managers said to me in the pub after the game, "Why don't you come and join us? You're pretty good."
Yeah. No, because I think that this is actually because you've got to remember, like when you're 19 or something like that, your parents, I assume, are still a big influence in the decisions that you make. Okay. You know, like the Bellinghams and so on. We've seen it before. And if you come in and do what United did, which is pay at least double the wage that Real Madrid would have offered, double the salary, and you've got pressure from your club saying like, look, you've got to go, we need this money and things. And then you get told what your weaknesses are and how the club is going to turn you into a world-class player. Yeah. That you are coming to the best environment in Europe to become the player that you can be. I think that that's electric for any young player, combined with the glamour of, like, you know, United have been down in the dumps for 10 years, but we're still a glamour club. Like, you know, I don't know if he knows who Eric Cantona is. Or Jemba, but like, you know, Varane's been here, Silvestre, big names in France. So that's what I think would have happened.
What do the comments think, Mr. B?
Let me get them up. They haven't mentioned that. It's just a couple of good evenings, to be fair. I think they've offered him first team football by half time.
Why do you say that?
Yeah.
Well, he's playing first team football at Lille. He played 42 games for them. I mean, there's no way they've told him that he's coming to be a bench boy. So I'm convinced that they've told him. I mean, maybe by half time you're right about the amount of games that he's been offered. But if he might stink. I mean, imagine. All right, you've said to him you're going to play 30 games, and after 4 games you've noticed, Jesus Christ, he's not ready for this. Do you still then have to play him the next 26 games? You see what I mean?
Contract, maybe. That's what I'm saying. I'm interested to know how.
I doubt that. That won't be a legality, right? They will have, for every player at the football club, like from the academy onwards, people like Mickey Cox will have a development plan, right? There'll be targets and goals that they need to sort of hit to develop as players. Yoro is far ahead of like everyone else in his age group and stuff like that. And we've got like League Cup games, Europa League, things like that. We're going to be able to give him 25 games minimum a season. And if you recall back to when Haaland signed for City, one of the things that I read that was quite that swayed him a lot, apart from the ridiculous money, was that Pep said that they would take him out of games because, you know, he began to become injury prone. And Yoro is at the stage where you're most likely to get injuries, like 18, 19 years old. We remember Højlund coming and he had that vertebrae and things like that. Like, I'd be very surprised if people of the caliber of Wilcox haven't got like a whole PDF file, like, and lots of diagrams and stuff about how we're going to develop him. But that has to be how we got him, alongside like almost tripling all the wages and fee and transfer fees and stuff like that, is that we've got a plan for him and we've shown him how he's going to become the player. And we're just speculating if it's 25, 30 games or whatever. But even if he performs badly, he might not even start, to be honest, Mr. B. We might see a sort of Garnacho situation where he doesn't really get into the team till after Christmas and we see him sort of sporadically as he learns the league.
I'll be honest, that would piss me off. As a player, as an individual player, and as a fan, I want to see this guy play. I want to see him play for the money that we've spent on him. I want to see him play. I don't want him sitting down on the bench. I don't care how bad he is. You lot should have done your research, so you should know whether or not he's going to be good enough to come straight in. Yeah, a shaky game or two is fine. Ever had a shaky game, and look how he ended up for us.
Yeah, and Vidic as well.
Yeah, so you do probably expect a little baptism of fire. When he plays, of course, they're going to be targeting him. The big experienced forwards will be targeting him, but he has to be prepared for that as well. I mean, they can't walk up to him and punch him in his face. You know what I mean? No, but you know what I mean? He doesn't have to be intimidated. He's 6'3", So I would be very disappointed by half-time if he got, the Coca-Cola Cup games and the FA Cup third round or whatever round we're in, games to play. I'll be disappointed. I want to see him from the Fulham game. I would like to see him starting in the Fulham game, regardless of who else regardless of who else we bought. Yeah, if we bought De Ligt, fine, I understand, but there must be a reason why the club bought you first. Generational talent. This is what I'm hearing. Blah blah blah. The Mbappe of defenders. Fine, granted, but prove it. So you come out, then you start the first game in training. You make sure that you nail Rashford. With your big daddy long legs. You do what you're doing, so that the manager thinks, "Woi, we really have got somebody better than we thought we've got." So yeah, I want him to impress. Get his head down and impress.
Yeah, you see, I think that this is a problem we've fallen into before, where we just look at the player and we don't look at the league. Like Ferguson, famously, as part of his motivation and things, would leave a player out for a couple of games, but consistently tell him, "I need you for Blackburn away," or something like that. And I think it was more motivational, etc. But I think that Yoro, we have to get him used to the league. And I think that when we look at players like Sancho and Pogba, who didn't have any, they might have been trained and grew up in England, but they didn't have experience of English first team football when they came. We just threw them in and expected them to perform because they'd done well in another league. I think with Yoro, we have to warm him up to our league because it's a different challenge. And that's why I expect him to be drip fed, to be put in games and taken out of games. But then again, Kobe, I think his first 3 or 4 games were all away games, like at hard places like Goodison Park and West Ham. So we'll see. But I want the club to have a plan for him.
It's very interesting, this discussion, because first of all, his age. I think he stops growing. People most stop growing at age 21. So I think he's got a couple more years growth in him. So if you are playing too much, there is a risk of injury at this sort of age, as you mentioned earlier. So you're not fully grown, fully into your body just yet. So that's one factor. The other factor is his position. Centre-back partnerships usually stay rock solid throughout the season. So bringing someone off the bench after 60 minutes at centre-back when it's tight in the Premiership is a bit risky. The third thing, as you mentioned there, is about the league he's in. I think as a centre-back as well, it's different to any other position because you're coming up against strikers that you need to get familiar with. Now, you can do all your homework, your video analysis, all that kind of thing. There's nothing like feeling a striker, if you know what I mean. You're going to have to be up against him, understand what he's like. He might be in your ear hole. He might be pinching you or trying to wind you up. You might realize quicker off the mark than you expected, So I think for a centre-back, you have to give at grace a season of mistakes, understanding of what the Premiership's like, especially at centre-back, because you've got the Watkins, you've got the Tonys, you've got the big ball.
Jordan Ayes.
Yeah, Jordan Ayes. I'm trying to think of someone who's on like a Duncan Ferguson in the league, someone like that. Woods. the New Zealand guy,
Yeah.
Chris Wood, for example. How are you going to handle him? How are you going to handle the guy from Nottingham Forest, the striker, the African guy? You know, and then how are you going to handle someone like Jesus, who's wiry and strong and moves around, and all these other Haaland? There's so many different strikers that you have to get familiar with, and I think the only way you can do it is through practice. But that's what I'm saying. Don't give him a hard time, guys, especially based on his position, his age, and knowledge.
He's going to be giving him a hard time.
No, I'm saying throughout the season, I don't want to see us
You
lose
know
a
what?
game and see him mistake by Yoro. And everyone say, "Oh, he's terrible."
I think that's
Especially
going to
that
come. That will come on Monday, regardless of anything else. Whether it's not us as Man United fans, it'll be everybody else. It'll be everybody else. Oh, you spent blah 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 on this talent, and look, he's just been ripped by Tony, or he's just been ripped by whoever. That's part of the course. You know, it's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that as well. So if I hear you on a watch along, Mr. B, cussing and swearing and sprouting, you know.
No, look. Let's not get
into about a mistake. I want to hear you acknowledge these factors.
It's an instant reaction. It doesn't mean, you know, I hate them like I hate Scott, who we'll talk about later. You know, it's not like that. You know, it's more instant. You know, after the game and I've had a cool down and I've spoken to you guys, my love tends to come back eventually. You know, it does take a little bit of time, but it does come back. So no, but look, let's just gonna get a couple of these comments up, to be fair. Let's have a look on it. There was one where saying Varane was number 19. Apparently Johnny
the Amrabat, wasn't it?
Yeah, Amrabat played in number 4, and it was Phil Jones before that.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a bit. We'll get back to that one there. Yeah, it was just that somebody had mentioned that Souness has been digging out Mainu. I think Souness is such a twat. And then you've got Bart kind of defending him there on the whole, so we'll stick that one up there. We might come back to that one, to be fair, but I think Souness is an idiot. His agenda against Man United is so real. Mitesh, welcome, my friend. I don't know if you've been here before. I don't think you have. Yes. And this one here, if you look know this name,
Badjalani.
Yeah.
No.
I think you're new as well, Mr. Badjalani. Hi all United. Please sell McTominay and Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Casemiro. We need to refresh the team. Well, you agree with a lot of us, to be fair. And while you're there, while you are typing, I hope your hand has slipped and hit that subscribe button, mate. Hit the like button on the other side as well. I see Andrew's in the house. I hope you're not winding up anybody, Andrew, to be fair. Sorry, let's get back to what we were talking about, guys. Sorry about that.
Well, I think like Amonde was talking about how we all have to have patience with Yoro. I don't actually think that we do. I think it's the club that does. Like, I think the impact, as long as we don't get to the sort of Beckham in '98 or Maguire of like a year and a half ago or whatever, we don't get to those vitriolic, punitive levels of social media thing. It's actually up to the club to look after him and things. Like, he's a young boy coming from a different football and culture and all of that. And I remember when Sancho came, like, he was late all the time. He couldn't get up, like, blah, blah, blah. But the thing to do was enact a buddy system and get someone who's there to kind of look after him and things. So I think it might have been Haaland even at Dortmund that did it. So I would really hope that the club have like assigned someone. I'm trying to think who an experienced player is who speaks French at the club. Maybe Andre Nana, like speak French in Cameroon, I think. Someone like that, you know, get him in, show him the town, like, you know,
Not
what
too much.
Well, no, I mean like Tesco, 24 hours, you know, get some stuff in, nice restaurants to eat at, stuff like that. Make sure that the family is integrated so that he's got a good support base for when he inevitably like makes a mistake, as any young player would. I think that that's more important than us like sort of excusing every mistake he makes, because he is like one of the most expensive centre backs of all time for his age. Maybe only Rio cost more with like inflation and stuff. So you're right, he's going to be Everton fans are going to go for him. Liverpool fans are going to go for him. Real Madrid fans are going to go for him. And it's the club that needs to look after him.
Of course we
Like
will.
siege mentality.
You know something? One thing we don't know about him, which I'm sure we'll soon find out, is about his character. I mean, this is a massive move for him. He's coming to the northwest of England, a night out of Manchester to taste the atmosphere. You know, does he need to settle down? Does he need to get a girlfriend and get into a routine? Is he professional?
Why?
Is he shy? Well, because you don't want him turning up and then start going, you know, becoming a fashion icon, or you know, going to the latest braid store and get his braids done, and he's turning up at fashion shows and TV movie premieres and all that kind of
Why?
thing.
Why? What's wrong with
Because
that?
you've got players like Paul Scholes who just get on with the game, and some players, when you're young and excited and you've got all this attention, it can turn your head, you know, and you can start playing the arse a bit. So I don't know. I think that's also.
No, you're right. You're right, Amanda. Fergie wanted his players married like early,
so they could get divorced even earlier, because all they do is whopping gal. That don't make no sense to me.
Well, because it's what I think Amonde and Fergie were about is a stable environment for a player. So if you've got a girlfriend or something,
no, a happy environment is better for the player.
Yeah, if that happy means going and taking shots, not shots on the field training ground, but shots in the Manchester bars and going out with girls and getting all the attention from women.
I was more thinking about the women's side of it, to be fair.
Okay.
Not so much the drinking part.
I don't know. Look, someone said to me something really funny the other day. He said, rival fan said, he looks like a Class A dealer in Harlesden. You know,
oh, for God's sake, come on, Dave.
I know, but that's the kind of image, roadman image he's got. Obviously, he's got the.
I don't care. I don't care.
No,
I
don't know his character. I couldn't defend that. You know, even though I went, ha ha ha, that's funny, but I couldn't defend it because that's how he does look. He does look like he's. What I could see him down my local high street roadman. You know, give me cut eye or something. You know, so I don't know what he's going to be like as a person. He's going to focus on his football.
Of course he is. What is the matter with you?
Well, look, Mr. B, if you would have made it as a player, you would have been open to all kind of girl, you know, throwing
I would have been. I would have been.
And I know you would have been your eyes would have been like that, and temptation would have got you. Probably.
Yeah, but I didn't even. I played amateur football and I was still like that. So it makes no difference. It made no difference. You know.
Well, look at Garnacho, right? We think Garnacho is a bit insane, right? Yeah. But he's got a fiance and a child, and we've never sort of seen pictures of okay, we've seen him with two dwarfs dressed as Messi and Ronaldo at his birthday party, but. You don't see him out down Deansgate or something. Whereas, when Tate comes on, we all know that Rashford, Sancho, Malacia, well, maybe not Malacia, they're spotted out on town all the time. And it's I always say this about the COVID season, is that those players are really, really, really good when they're focused and they're not concerned with everything that's going on outside. And an easy home life and a stable home life, I think, contributes to that. So I'm with Amonde. I think having a partner and stability helps you develop as a footballer.
Just another point I make. A good friend of mine, she's got a new job as a prison rehabilitation officer, which means
I saw the video.
What video? Brilliant. I like that. I was like, what video? Oh, that one. Okay. But so I work with a lot of people that come out of prison, and there's no system for them to rehabilitate back into society. It's like when you come out the military, you're civilian. You're civilian again. People help you. You fill out any form and say, "What are you in the military?" Okay, if you say yes, obviously there's going to be some incentive to help you with that. But with prisoners who've been locked up and they're coming out, there's no system like that. And this woman I know just recently got a job as working in the prison and working as a rehabilitation officer and helping them a resettlement officer, that sort of thing. I think, wow, finally we've got this sort of role, important role. And I think the same applies to some footballers, especially after the Greenwood situation that we had at the club. I wonder if the new Ineos thing are going to address that and say, look, yeah, we're going to bring young players in and that sort of thing. But what are we going to do to avoid losing a talent like Greenwood in the past? We've got to have something in place, maybe a mentor, counselor, or some sort of guidelines for these young players to avoid that sort of situation again. That's my point.
Yeah, that's interesting, Monday, when you talk about prison rehabilitation stuff. Because I can remember about 15 years ago, they used to release people on a Friday, and all of the services were closed over the weekend.
See what I mean? Yeah, exactly.
So they changed it to Monday so that they didn't go out and have a crazy weekend and end up back in the slammer.
Exactly.
But I think that United will be doing that. I mean, we've made such a huge financial investment. Like, we've bought him at a premium, Yoro, with the hope and the belief that he develops, and we've made a huge financial commitment. We also have the commitment to develop him into the best that he's going to be, the same way we do for all of our players. And I'd just be stunned if there's not a plan and we haven't, we haven't just turned up to his family, his agents, his advisors. And remember, he's had people in his ear all his life. He's always been marked as like the best in his age group. And we've gone, come and join Sancho and Rashford down Deansgate, and stuff like that. There'll be a plan. Don't worry about it. It's just,
Good.
I think my fear with him is that we won't see the best of him for 2 or 3 seasons.
Is that fair?
Yeah, because I think that the pressure is on for him to come and perform straight away.
If he was the level that they're talking of him being, Mainu 18, he's playing now. 19, he's playing. You look at Lamal. All right, these are. I wouldn't like to think that they're exceptions to the rule. I just think that younger players now are a lot better younger. I don't know if it's a different training regime with these Gen Z or Gen X, whatever age these kids are getting it, or whether it's a FIFA thing where they're learning, skills differently or whatever. I don't know, but I think when there was a 17-year-old, 18-year-old when we were playing at my age, it was like, wow, you've got. But now I think they progress so much earlier that if he's that good, I don't expect it to be 2 or 3 years. Obviously,
it's his position, Mr. B.
But
how many teenage centre backs can you name that were performing at a top level? I can think of maybe 2 generously,
and usually teenage centre backs end up playing fullback or centre midfield before they're put in that position to play centre back, because it's so tough. Just to add as well, sorry, I wanted to throw this in as well about it. I think if Bath Time mentioned it could be 2 or 3 years, I think it's down to, if I was an opposition manager, I would be saying to my centre forward, when we play Man United, get at that young boy, see what he's got. It's similar to what De Gea had encountered when he first arrived at the club, when he was this scrawny, sort of just coming out of his teens and puberty goalkeeper. It's true. He's just coming out of all that.
Yeah, I remember Evra.
He was thrown in there
to punch the ball.
Say that again.
I remember Evra gesturing to him how to punch the ball.
Oh, really? Okay.
Every team went for him on crosses for the first season.
Yeah. So don't you think that every team is going to be putting it on our boy Yoro to see what he's got, see what he's made of, Exactly.
The same way they did to Martinez. Like, they're going to look at him as a weakness. Like, Sam Allardyce once talked about out-tacticling or whatever Pep Guardiola. And all he did is that they had a centre-back called Mangala, I think. And they focused on him in the first match because it was his debut in the Premier League. And that's how you go. It's like it's a meal. But just back to the point that I made earlier, Mr. B, the only centre-back, I think the only 2 centre-backs that I've seen that performed at an extraordinary level at his age were John Terry and maybe Paolo Maldini. I'm not sure if he was a left-back at the start or a centre-back, but Rio was extremely dodgy. And you look at all the great centre-backs, they didn't really do it until they were 24 or 25, because it's a game that's based around experience and understanding. and we're going to have to go. He's going to have to go through a couple of seasons to get that experience. Like, look at Virgil van Dijk. He was at Celtic, like, and stuff like that, and wasn't a standout defender. He went to Southampton, and there was promise there, and then he went to Liverpool, and he's been one of the best centre backs probably since Sergio Ramos. So it's like with a defender, I think it's different to a winger or a goal scorer that traditionally, like a good younger. I think a defender needs the time and the experience in order to understand their position more.
Yeah, most certainly. I think we all made valid points there about him. So yeah, but overall, I mean, we are kind of addressing his weaknesses, but positives will be. I think what will shine straight away, Mr. B, is his passing, his composure, his interceptions, and that's what we'll be looking at initially.
And his aerial duels.
Well, that's going to be interesting as well, isn't it? Because he is tall, but I don't think it's a different kettle of fish when you're sort of trying to win duels against these big, strong.
So what? They didn't have strong players in France, no?
Oh, they got strong players in France.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
so he played against midgets over there, didn't he? Am I allowed to say midgets?
No.
The Oompa Loompa League.
Yeah. Sorry, short players.
Yeah, you're right.
We'll see. Hi, Dora. We see you in the chat. We see you.
Are we talking to the chat tonight?
Yeah, why not? On Monday, could you do that for me, please?
No, most certainly, yeah. Even though you put it on me last minute, I will try to touch on things. First one I start with, it comes to for F's sake, Monty. Andrew Williams is on my case. There's nothing new here. Nothing new. How you doing, Andrew? Hope you're doing well, bro. We got Mr. Belani saying here, we've read this one out. It's about these players need to go to refresh the team. Most certainly, good shout there. Reports says we deserve better. He's on 112k a week. I don't know how we feel about that. I thought it's not too bad considering.
I don't care what he's on. I really don't care what he's on. I'm sick of all right. We had a pay ball or we had a pay. Sometimes you have to break the rules to get what you want. Yeah. If he's that good, no problem.
Okay. Well, you were delighted when Xerxes was only on 55 grand a week. So
yeah, but he's not a generational talent, is he? He's not the one who Real Madrid wanted and we stole from. You have to give them. You have to offer him something. We couldn't have just said, come to Man United.
Fair enough. Good points. Andrew Williams saying here, because we were saying about criticism and saying the last 4 finalists in Euros, England, Spain, Italy, had how much criticism do you think they give their players? Probably a lot. It's true.
I think their managers get criticised more, actually.
Okay. Is that the toughest jobs to have then in maybe world football with Brazilian national job as well? Spain always attack their players. So there's a lot of criticism on Spanish players as well. So he's going to be, the spotlight will be on him. Definitely at Man United. Big up to Kerwin Nixon. He's saying Yoro must wear the number 15 jersey. Criticism only affects weak players, says Andrew Williams. So hopefully he's tough as a nut. But Stephanie saying here, sure, we'll take him to Greg. So we're talking about nights out and, in Manchester and where to go to bars, local bars or, little restaurants, French restaurants. Stephanie saying, sure, we'll take him to Greg's for such a droll or something like that. A running joke. Andrew again saying here, if they 2 weeks to take criticism, 2 weeks to play at the highest level. Yeah, very good point. On the list as well should be Amrabat, Casemiro, Anthony, Mount, and Ericsson. Which ones of these would you sell if we had to sell? We
can't sell Amrabat. He's not ours.
He's not there.
I'd sell everyone but Mount if I could.
Mr. B?
Yeah, I would actually agree. Yeah, I'd keep Mount.
Okay. Kerwin again, big up Kerwin, saying Yoro doesn't hook up with the party bros. He's hoping he doesn't hook up with the party bros, that being Rashford and Sancho, and he'll be fine. But I imagine he will. Like the three brothers, we've got the three youth generational talents who, with Haaland, kicked off the hoarding board. Maybe we want to see that rather than a picture of these three coming out of a nightclub lashed, which is not good look. Reggie Verse, how you doing? Say good evening. How are you guys? We're great, and I hope you're doing well too. Weezer better saying good night. This stream is blah. Take care. Okay, he's gone.
No
he's
problem.
Out of here. Like one of like the list of players. We should add Weezer to that list of players and see who we want gone. But it's too late. He's gone. See you tomorrow. Reggie Verse is saying it. If we're talking players, we want Kimmich. For me, he would start sort out as DM position or right back. He's someone who's been talked about on the market, hasn't he?
Surely he'd be too old.
Yeah, I suggest that as well. Amin sitting here, which midfielder do you prefer to sign? If you like to sign, that's something we could talk about. Chat Sport, talking about Kimmich, as you said there, Mr. B, too old for Ineos to buy, although he's a player that would improve us. And obviously Dora's in the house. Big up Dora with Bilal, missed the whole year once. Is that after a night out? I forget where we are with the conversation. And so it's a good one. Regiverse saying a young centre-back needs to hit the weight room. Because obviously we were talking earlier about you don't grow fully into a man until you're 21. He's like 19 or something now. And Simon Warner, how you doing, man? Now that the King, Rude, is back, that's what Dennis Law. I don't know if he can improve Rashid's performance. It's as though he can't be bothered. It's no wonder his goal tally was so low last season. And I want to say hi as well to ex-Maury Me. Do you think you got a chance on the 10th of August against City in the FA Community Shield?
Yeah, we'll win that.
One?
Yeah, they're always rubbish in the Community Shield.
Yeah, they don't care. We'll win that.
Okay, I want to say hi to this fine young man. It's Rich Sports. Am I right? It's Rich Sports, isn't it?
Yeah. He's RD United now. He's rebranded.
Brand name. It's brand name.
What does the D? What does the D stand for?
Devil, I would suspect.
Red Devil United TV. Yeah.
Oh, right.
I think when you're Rich Sports, it doesn't really relate to Manchester United. So now he's a dead. So
yeah, but his name is Rich.
So what you're saying, Rich Devil United TV? Is that what you're saying it is?
Oh shit! Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Anyway, go subscribe to Red Devil United TV. That's Rich Sports. And he's saying here, talking about Bart's sense of humour. And Simon Warner talked about Mason Mount. We touched on him. Mount has been a bit of a melter. Yeah, let Chelsea have him back. But they have gone mad buying French players as well. We just bought French players as well. And Vincent Bullock finally saying here, his name is Rich, but did you know his second name also begins with the letter D? Can we guess what his name is?
What? Why would we? What is this?
I don't know. I thought it was Red Devils TV. But Rich, let us know what your surname is if it's not Devils.
Fucking hell about that.
Oh, sorry. One more thing. Tyrone Williams, welcome.
Hang on. I've seen a comment in chat that Fabrizio has tweeted. I've got a feeling that this is bait, but I will check. It's not. Oh my God. Okay. Breaking news. Manchester United have agreed on personal terms with Manuel Ugarte. Contract terms discussed. Player keen on moving to United, even without Champions League football. Club-to-club talks continue with PSG as more clubs also inquired. He has the same agent as Lenny Yoro, Jorge Mendes. Okay, so...
So can we get Trevor McDonald, Mr. B, on single screen to sort of cover this news, please?
you know you can't.
It's almost 10 o'clock. Come on, Mr. B.
It's got nothing to do with me and being on no big screen, mate. It's got nothing to do with me being on no big screen. Look, if that's what's happening, that's great. They're starting to move. They're moving quickly. We kind of spoke about it being the third one. So has been the third signing coming in. So look, we were going to talk about we'll Andrew. We can add them all up. I'm positive about that one in regards to the fact that we've agreed personal terms. So it's just about the clubs thrashing it out. That's fine. But to make money to get these deals done, obviously we still need players going out the door. Obviously Scott's now was linked with Galatasaray beginning of the season a couple of weeks ago. Fulham reared their head a couple of days ago, and now Tottenham are in the race. The fact that there's three teams, well, we say two to be fair. I don't think he's going to have any interest in Galatasaray. What are your feelings on that? The price sounds like it might be 40 million. I don't know how we can expect to get 40 million when he's only got a year left on his contract. Has he only got a year?
Like they can activate it or something.
Okay.
So, like, I'm not particularly concerned about McTominay moving to Fulham. Like last year, McTominay was in a much weaker position than he is now. Like, you have to view him as the Manchester United vice captain at the moment after the last couple of games. You have to remember that my mate Dan, the first player he tried to buy when he moved to Newcastle was McTominay. I think that they have set a price that they feel is acceptable to let McTominay go for, which is 40 million. And it's up to clubs to pay that. My concern is that I think he'd be very, very good at Tottenham and the style of football they play, with a huge amount of sort of recovery runs and things, late entries into the box. So McTominay is a profile. He's a profile of he's the only guy at the club who is able to get up and down the pitch and add physicality in both boxes. I think it would be very, very silly to sell McTominay and bring someone like Ugarte in. But the reasoning that they're probably trying to bring Ugarte in is that there's no one on the market who can play as a single pivot in the Premier League. Okay, so João Neves, he's too small to be the single pivot. So we're going to have to look at a double pivot with Kobbie Mainoo. And with Mainoo doesn't have great long-range passing that we've seen. And whilst he's competent, like at defensive work, he's not brilliant at it, and he struggles a little bit over large distances. So I think that what they would be trying to do is to find they're going to try and do a higher class McFred. Like get a double pivot that complements each other. And I'm not sure. I mean, I love McTominay, but I'm not sure that he is.
Fred, did you say complement each other? Did you think Fred and McTominay complemented each other?
We just have to look at the results, Mr. B. Like, we have more points, more goals, like less conceded, higher league position than like basically at any other time with Fred and McTominay since Ferguson. We saw better numbers from players like Bruno. Like, everyone laughed at like McFred, but they provided the platform for the team to get better results. Like, they were a better midfield than Herrera and Pogba were. Like, and that's demonstrable by results.
Okay. Mr. B, what do you call him? Mac?
No, I refuse.
All right, we've got to see too early.
Yeah.
They were so good, they had a nickname. And they had if you get a nickname on this show, then there is something. You got to have something like terribly poor, or just a brilliant player like Shawberto, or whatever we used to call Shawdinho when he was on fire. Remember that? People were dissing Luke Shaw recently, but there was a time in the show where we called him Shawdinho, or a Brazilian name. But yeah, it's interesting the stat you just threw out there at bath time. You were put on the spot and you came back with this stat. I don't know how true it is, but I wasn't happy with it.
It's true.
Well, I didn't know, but I trust your word. I've known you long enough. So I think with Fred and McTominay, no one was ever happy with that. We were always looking for someone else to come along and fill that gap. Fred was the first one to go. And I don't know how much of he'll be remembered as a legend at the club. I can't think of many sort of highlights in where he's been fantastic. As we know, what rings to mind for me is what Troy Deeney said about him, is that they're in pre-match teams would just say, go for Fred. As soon as Fred gets the ball, put him under pressure. He's likely to lose the ball. He's too weak, not physical enough for this Premier League, So, and I haven't heard much, over the internet about what Fred's doing, wherever he's playing now, whether he's blowing up or not. McTominay, yes, interested in that people want him gone, especially Mr. B. So shall I whisper about this? I don't want to upset anyone.
Yeah, don't shout at us, Mr. B. You always shout at us.
No, listen, to
talk about McTominay.
I've already. Everybody knows my thoughts on him. I will let you lot talk. Whatever you say, I will bite my lip. I've said it already. You lot will talk McTominay and we will move on. I'm going to not react. I'm not going to say nothing.
Okay. Well, I've got my finger over the mute button just in case I see some flames coming from your mouth like a dragon. All right. So, yeah, McTominay, I'm a convert. I am. Thanks to bath time. he's sort of highlighted to me how effective he is. And he just said, Bartram just said the same thing again about no one's got the running power of Mctominay. There's things that he does in the squad that no one else can do. And when we're talking about Agate coming in and people get excited, it's just names. I don't see what Agate is going to do. I don't know him yet. I'm not qualified to talk to him as a player. I don't really know him, to be honest, as a player. Maybe someone in the comments can highlight that. I know we did a show on him where Bath Time basically ruined him, as a player based on data. You know what I mean? So I don't know enough about him, but what I do know, you can't get rid of someone like Mctominay who's got that running power, scored 10 goals last season, and despite people not giving him credit or anything else, it's like Muhammad Ali or Klitschko, you're going to miss them when they're gone. You might not like them while they're there, but you will miss them when they're gone. And especially, like you said earlier, Mr. B, if you went to Tottenham or one of these teams, Bath Time said that.
Yeah,
they might start performing, and be thinking, oh, God, look at this guy. We had him and we let him go. I'm all for Ngate if that's what the strategy is, to get someone like him in. But I don't think you should be considering selling Mctominay before you even talk about Ericsson, Donny van der Beek, who's probably gone as well, and
he's gone.
Yeah, the Amrabat and all these guys who were there last season. Those guys should be priority. Mctominay, as he said, should be a vice captain. He performed brilliantly last season, and he's the sort of player that you need to sort of we talk about the dressing room, talk about Yoro and him not turning into sort of a nightclub boy. I think Mctominay is one of these guys who will keep him in line, string people up. And have you seen Mctominay? He's tonk. He's a giant of a player. He's fitness fanatic, and he's a proper model pro. We need more of those guys around the club.
Yeah, I agree on that. I think that when you look back at last season and you look at our best performances against the top clubs would probably be Anfield away, Arsenal at home, City in the cup final, Liverpool in the FA Cup. Like, Mctominay was all key in those games and performed very, very well. He will be a favourite of Ten Hag's now. I'm not really expecting him to move. Right, Andrew? Andrew is trying to make jokes about Seinfeld, and that's all he's here for, is to get a bit of attention. So I hope you've got your attention now, Andrew. But I think that when we look at the players we have, Ericsson and Casemiro have to go before Mctominay. Like, Mctominay will probably we've seen this all the time. He'll start off as a squad player and he'll finish as a first team player at the end of the season, regardless of what's going on. Like, when things are difficult.
Mute button, get ready.
Yeah.
There's a volcano brewing.
Mr. B, we've seen this before. Ten Hag's first two games, McTominay didn't play. He came in against Liverpool, and then he basically played until like Christmas, like every game. We saw last season that he came in and he played like every game and was captain at times. Like the manager loves him, and he saved his job with like Brentford and so on. And if you talk to people like Rodri, they'll absolutely hate playing against McTominay because he's just up and down, elbows everywhere. And the position that he plays, you don't really sort of need to be on the ball much. But my concern is that I don't think that McTominay unleashes Mainu. And I think that that's their thinking. Like, it's really, really important that we get a player that covers Mainu's weaknesses and allows him to sort of control games and break lines and get up the pitch and so on. And I don't think that Ugarte is that player. I really, really want us to get him because I've absolutely castigated him on this stream, looked at his performances. He looks dreadful to me, absolutely dreadful. So I'm really excited to see what I've got wrong about him, because all those football men at Ineos and at the club, he can't be as bad as I think he is. So I'm really excited to see what I learn from seeing him. But it would be ridiculous to let McTominay go.
Do people in the chat agree?
Let's find out. Obviously, we're talking about Mctominay and Ugarte. Breaking news, guys, live on the show. Ugarte has been a message put out there. We actually put a bid in, and there's other clubs interested in
That's not true.
Oh,
that's not what was said. We have agreed personal terms with the player,
okay,
which is the first step. So now we're going to negotiate with PSG.
that's a step towards signing him. So there you go. You heard it here first on the Man United agenda. Question: Ugarte or another highly rated youngster, Jose Neves, who could be going PSG? I heard in the comments. Ed Mayhem, how you doing? He said, "Evening, boys. I would not be upset if Scotty went. He isn't 40 million. He's 10 at best. Neves is going to PSG." Mr. B loves that comment. It's definitely saying here McTominay could provide physicality. The trouble is he never uses it. Okay, he's got it in the locker though. Ugarte McTominay is slightly better than McFred. She feels that's Dora, our very own Dora, or if Brush would say Doris. Saying here, I'm sorry, bath time. I have PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder from McFred. They had massive stinkers. Bart, how you doing? He says, to be fair, McFred was indeed one player instead of two. He would have been some player with Fred's work rate and industrious nature of McTominay's goal scoring knack and height. That was at Dora. So combine the two players. Bilal saying here, Fred smiled and held his hand after every mistake. Used to pee him off. Reggie Burst is saying here, we had Fred finish 4th. We sold Fred, finished 8th. He gave us 4 places. Interesting that. So we're asking how he's getting along. He's at Fenerbahce. Fred has done well, said Ed Mayhem. And Dora's saying the same thing. Fred is at Fener, is doing good, she thinks.
And he carried Casemiro in the Brazilian team, didn't he, for like 2 or 3 years.
And now he's not in the team anymore, is he?
Yeah.
There you go. There's something in this. Welcome back, Helge. He's saying Man United are acting like Biggs and Wayne in the jewelry store. Shotters.
What's that mean?
I don't know. I'm trying to work this out.
Gangsters.
Huh?
Gangsters.
A gangster called Wayne?
Biggs and Wayne. Surnames, maybe?
Yeah, I think it might be their surnames.
Look it up, Mr. P, if you don't mind. I would love to know. Because I'm thinking Helga's from Norway, but how would you know about like shotters? That's a London term.
Is it Top Boy or something?
No, I don't think it's Top Boy.
No, man, that's the Yardie film from 2012.
Oh, Shotters. Is that a film?
Yeah.
Wow, you're more London than me.
No, I knew about Shotters, but I don't remember. My memory at that stage of my life is a complete blur, boy.
Okay. Tommy's goals come in injury time, added time, says Simon Warner. When they come, they come. Stephen Griffith saying McTominay will talk his way into staying into the impact sub at best. Bilal saying shouldn't really be paying attention to bath time. Says he's not a scout, but yeah, we're here to talk football. And Simon Warner saying here, McTominay didn't exactly set the Euros alight. How many goals did he score? Come on now.
Same as Bellingham.
Oh dear. What we're gonna touch on here is Andrew Williams. What's he saying here? I don't really care about Scott. To be fair, he is me to me. Meh. Yeah, meh. That's one of these new terms. Meh meaning whatever. That sort of thing. I've learned.
What new term? Amonde, that's been from about 2000.
Really?
Yes.
Meh. Yeah. I've only started. I only found out about it in the last year or so. Is that true? And Mr. B, you would have said meh.
Come on now.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
No, that wouldn't be in my yeah.
Shotters is a Jamaican crime film. Looked it up in Wikipedia. Okay, and finally, big up to Matthew Bassett. You were here earlier. You commented now saying Ugarte's personal terms agreed as per Fabio Romano. Just need to find an agreement with PSG now. Okay.
Well, look, we got money because Greenwood's been official as well, so it's not like we haven't got.
Okay.
You know, all right, it's imaginary money, whatever, however it works, but we should have at least a little bit to maybe spend over there. Is there anything else you lot want to talk about? Anything else you want to discuss?
I have a theory, Mr. B. Like today, we saw the horrifying news that Saudi interest in Casemiro has cooled because they're going for younger players first and then looking for the older, more experienced players, like at the end of the window when they can't get anyone to come. I'm really, really hoping that this is really clever stuff from United, where there's a bit of it's like sort of buying a house at the moment. Like PSG want João Neves. They want Ugarte to fund that. In order for us to fund Ugarte, we've got to sell Casemiro. I'm hoping that like with Ugarte, we're lying about the interest in Saudis calling from Casemiro to try and drive the price down, because I can't have another season of that pudding in the midfield.
I mean, look, do you think there's a chance that he could stay half time?
Yes. If we can't sell him, like, what are we going to do with him? Put him in the mega store? Like, we've got to find an exit route for him.
The thing is, everybody just assumed, and I did kind of say this. If nobody wants him, then yeah, we're gonna be stuck with him, and he will have to play. But then that's gonna be like the Maguire situation last season, where I think he just stopped. He stopped the progression of the club. I mean, he don't care. He's on 350 a week.
So, do you think that, like, Casemiro might look at Maguire and McTominay and see how they were a little bit unwanted last season and then became like key players last year, and think, do you know what? If I just lose a bit of weight and run around and go to training, then an opportunity will open up and I can get in.
We could have said that if we didn't see that slide tackle that he did 4 minutes into the game against Rosenberg. It was just, I mean, the guy saw him coming. He just slipped him. I mean, we can't. Come on, we can't.
Do you think he'll put a statement out saying that, like, Norwegian football is much tougher than La Liga?
Good one. That's in relation to what he said the other day about La Liga and the Premiership. Yeah, great stuff. Did he play? Yeah, he did play against Rosenberg, didn't he?
I was shocked. He was captain.
He was
after
captain.
what he did at the FA Cup final, I know Ten Hag is a man after my own heart and has a list of grudges on an Excel database somewhere. I can't believe that, like, that Ten Hag isn't livid, and his teammates as well, to just sod off the FA Cup final.
Yeah, but you know what? As well, you got to remember, because he's a manager, he can't act. He obviously, however pissed he is, until he gets sold, there's not really much he can do. So maybe he's playing him, in the tight shirt, so that they can see, all right, his belly's gone. Maybe it was maybe an advertising thing, so they think, oh, he is playing, he is fit, blah, blah. I mean, boy.
Do we need to advertise a 5 times Champions League winner, captain of Brazil?
Yeah, but they need to know, look, everybody remembers what he looked like last season and how he played. So hopefully they've got short memories and just see this new slimline version of him.
Like, I just want him. Like, I think that he's got to go. And the other thing is that one of the first things Ineos said, and I remember thinking it was almost outrageous that they said it, was Ratcliffe specifically named him, talking about what a ridiculous transfer that it was. Like, he's got to be top of getting rid of.
Ratcliffe is a businessman, so he's probably talking on the business side of things. A 30-year-old, that sort of wage, that sort of price, 60, whatever it costs. I understand that. Is Ratcliffe talking about his football ability? Because when we signed him, no one really was questioning, that he wasn't a good footballer. He wouldn't make it at Man United. It's just this season he's been very poor. Once again, if you get a nickname on the Man United agenda, you're either really poor or you're something special. Unfortunately for Casemiro, half-time called him pudding. It's not in a good way.
It's stuck. It has stuck. Because to be honest, bath time, when you were calling him that, I just thought, what is bath time talking about? But the more you watch, especially last season, it was like, Jesus Christ. It looks like he's running in treacle.
I also think that he's not suited to the way we play, because he can't carry a football. He can only really play 1 or 2 touches. Like, when Casemiro gets the ball, it's 1 touch and he bangs it somewhere. And if we're trying to be a sort of possession-based team and build up through all the phases, Casemiro is not your man for that. Like, I don't know if Agate is, but I suspect he'll be a lot better. And I don't know what we're doing, because I think that Eriksen is another one that's got to go as well. Like, because if we can get rid of, like, these players, then we can take a punt on people like Ugarte and maybe, like, sign Amrabat or something, because we know what Casemiro's level is. He knows what his level is, and it's not the Premier League anymore. Like it was embarrassing, some of the things he put in last season. And like Bilal saying Anthony, and that's another matter. Like we're stuck with Anthony, I think, for the moment. But I'd really like to see Anthony go on a loan, and the Saudis give us, it's Rida's season, give us 25 million, and thanks very much, Casemiro. And then we can get in like other players and start churning and seeing like which one's good and so on. And I'm really worried that Casemiro is going to be like on the tour and he's going to stay. He's going to stay, and we're just going to get like lumped with him in our midfield.
Oh boy! All right. Last comment here. Simon saying Casemiro's played 83 matches, scored 14 goals in 2 seasons. Doesn't look so bad, doesn't it? Stat wise.
Well, for a CDM, that is ridiculous. That is you can instantly tell that that's ill-disciplined.
I'll take the ill-discipline. Some of those goals that he scored were very, very late by half time. So sometimes you need a little bit of indiscipline.
Yeah.
Well, talk about indiscipline. We've gone 1 minute and 36 seconds over an hour, and that is not good enough. We want to keep it within the hour. So I think we should wrap it up. Before we do, Chat Sports saying if Casemiro stays, you could play him as deep like Kroos does play for Germany and put legs around him. Hey, still a good passer and reader of the game.
Yeah, but then you're doing somebody else's running. I mean, that doesn't make. If you've got, you're then playing. It's like you're playing with 10 men. Yeah.
Yeah, and we've got Rashford as well.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. 9 men. There you go.
I'm dreading an eye test where Bath Time starts slating these guys for being off the screen when teams are carrying ball up. Yeah, so I can see that happening very soon.
Look, guys, this is ridiculous, right? So I want to say, fatism is absolutely fine to do to professional athletes that play for Manchester United. Like the first thing they've got to be is fit.
Yeah, not fat.
Yeah. Shout out to Andrew.
Look, guys, we have hit the hour mark, as Monday has said. If you are still here, look, hit that like button and the subscribe button. I know there's a couple of newbies in here. Hopefully, before you left, you did the little slide touch on the side on the way out. But look, Bath Time, as always. Thank you, man. I'm on this. I'm looking at your thing and I'm saying, yabba. I'm on day. Thank you, man. As always, guys in the chat, thank you for making it what it was. And we should be back tomorrow.
Good night.
Bath Time, you're not saying you ain't got no manners.
Thanks for having me. See you all tomorrow.